Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I would like to share with you guys something I purchased off of Amazon. Now, currently at the moment, I should not be buying anything new. I'm actually in the process of cleaning out, doing a spring or late spring, early summer kind of sale thing going on. Thankfully, I've sold off a lot of my budget knives. Now it's time for the premium stuff. So stay tuned for if you want to pick up any premium stuff at a nice discounted rate on Blade Binge. So stay tuned for that stuff. I'll make posts and whatever about that and everything that's leaving or staying, whatever, I have to share. Channel updates and whatnot. The unboxing knife is going to be this beautiful piece right here. This is a budget knife that comes in and out of stock often and it's currently out of stock. This is the Monocolor Knives Assault T Model 1. It is a budget knife. You can have 14C28N and real milled titanium with a frame lock for around 45 bucks. Yeah, and it's actually good. Good enough by my standards, at least. I'm a very, very picky individual, and if you are longtime viewers of the channel, you'll know that my perception of quality has definitely changed, but it changes as it improves, I guess is the easiest way to say. So this is packed a little odd. I did get it off Amazon, but it came in a box brought to me by USPS. So I'm kind of curious as to why it came USPS and then took like 3 weeks to get to me. There's an extra thing in here, just a bubble mailer in case I need to send it back. But I sure hope I don't have to send it back because this should be a pretty interesting experience. So this is kind of a high-risk item that I got mainly due to my preferences, personal taste on crossbar locking knives. Now, I was not expecting it to come looking like this at all. The listing doesn't show at all the packaging. I thought it was gonna be much simpler, honestly. Okay, cool, fancy. I think that's interesting. Let's pop this open. Oh, wow. Okay, all right. What do we have here? So this is going to be my first experience with anything made by Olatans, however you'd like to pronounce it, doesn't matter. But this is a Chinese overseas manufacturer. I don't know who they're tied with, if someone else is making their thing and this is just a brand name and it's a designer that's running the whole thing. I don't know what it is, but it's the Chinese brand. I've seen them all over on Amazon, and I've always wanted to check out their budget stuff because that's what they started with. But I just never got around to pulling the trigger on anything. Now, one individual that I would love to shout out is Nick Stasa23 Knife Therapy. If you don't know of him or don't know of his channel, you're living under a rock. I'm just going to tell you how it is. He's an amazing individual in the community, and he's always highlighting a lot of these micro brands or lesser known stuff. He is constantly with his ears and nose to the ground when it comes to ultimate value, and he's very picky as well. So I definitely trust his judgment when it comes to quality overall and price and things like that. So Nick, you probably will never see this, but you're a cool dude. I like your stuff, and you were a huge influence. Excuse me. You were a huge influence on me making such a purchase. So we have here. It says the model, and it's just like scribbled down. Somebody actually hand wrote this. A number, maybe it's a numbered version. The date that it was born. So this was assembled or at least packaged very recently, like just a couple weeks ago, which makes sense. Blade material, Bowler M390. Now, I don't care for M390. I think it's all hype, realistically, based off of my own sharpening experience. And 6ALV4 grade titanium, which is the good stuff. So we have a nicely packaged microfiber cloth with the stamped logo right there. Looks like a little lightning bolt kind of thing. But it's actually the O, L, and then a T, Olatans. I think that's rather neat. Here is, it looks like this is a titanium key ring. That's cool. Little freebie action. That's nice. Now I do have my own Thai key ring, and I don't even have it on me to show off to you guys. This is probably something that's going to be thrown into a giveaway in the future or something like that. I think it's interesting. I think it's fun. Just to double check and make sure that it is titanium. I mean, they're not going to make one out of aluminum. That's just not going to happen. But yeah, there you go, titanium. So nice. I think that's really cool. It has this like spring design. Don't know how well that'll hold up over the years, but should be just fine. I know you guys want to get to the knife, as do I, but I want to highlight all the stuff it comes with. Oh, this is really cool. Okay. Here we have, I'm not gonna bother taking it out, but there is a combination of 2 types of washers, and I'm very curious as to why. So the way it was explained to me, even by the guys over at Skiff Bladeworks Knife Co. I forgot their names. The name is escaping me right now. But one of the gentlemen that I reached out to, he explained to me that the reason why their cages look like they're just straight copper is because it has a higher amount of copper. Phosphor bronze washers, it's a mixture of both. So one is like really bronze and the other one's really coppery. I'm not sure how those properties translate to smoothness overall, but I think the main unit is riding on multi-row ceramic bearings with a Teflon cage. At least that's what I remember the picture looking like. And you have barrel studs. These are very high quality looking studs that have potentially an oversized, now it looks like a T8 screw. We'll take those out in just a sec. Now what is this? What is, oh, that's cool. I mean, really oily, but there is an extra set of robust, holy hell, these are beautifully thick Omega springs. Holy crap, I'm very excited to take this out. And this was one of the reasons why I said that this could very well be a high risk item for me and I may not end up keeping it, only because it's Omega springs and I'm very picky with Omega springs. I don't care who makes it, where it's made, how much it costs, but if the Omega springs are shit, the knife does not deserve to stay in my collection. This is all like shrink wrapped. Let me see if I could pick this out. I just do this just to puncture it real quick. See if I can, yeah, there we go. Now this is I suppose the more affordable variation of this. There is one that has, I believe, Damascus clip and stair step studs. But wow, let's just take a second to appreciate this. This is really nice. And look at that pivot. That's nice. And you know what? It's not even that sharp. That's something that I've mentioned on stuff from Best Tech and Rhea, I believe, where they leave their pivots pretty crispy if there's any sort of milling design. That's really cool. I like that quite a bit. We're off to an amazing start. Looks like T8 for all the body screws, for the pivot as well. Hidden hardware for the clip. It is most likely on the inside. Yep, there it is. You do have a lanyard hole for lanyard lovers. And all right, the moment of truth. Let's flick this thing. Floppy. But maybe it gets better. So this is a bead blast blade. So it's gonna take a second for it to break in, but ooh, that's nice. Oh, yes. That's yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. This is cool. All right. Okay, so the stair step studs, they are a little awkward, but it's only because I don't really have other stuff that's shaped like that. I'm used to rounded barrel studs, and I'll swap them out with the other ones for fun, just cause. But yeah, I will say that right off the bat, the retention of the Omega springs, it is on the stronger side than what I would prefer. And as the blade, or at least the tang of the blade, starts to break in against that bar there, it'll get slicker and slicker, and I'll be able to put a little bit more force and intent behind it. giving the impression that it is, to my preference. But as it goes right now, ergonomics, this is wonderful. And just look at that blade shape. You will say that it is very reminiscent of something made by like the Rotten Evo design, that rather interesting blade shape, as well as the beloved Kanwu Padre series. I don't have a full-size Padre, but I do have a compadre right here. This is actually the one I'm going to be selling. I did a custom anno job, and I carry it often, but I don't find myself using it or gravitating to it as often as I did. I would love to keep it in the collection, but I am not made of money, and realistically, I should have not bought this knife. So honestly, to afford this knife, I got to get rid of stuff. It's the knife cycle. That's just what it is. So looking at the blade shape, this is not a ripoff. So for all the people that will think, oh, well, Olatan's a little Chinese company. Well, you know what? I mean, Kanwu Knives is also a Chinese company. I could care less if Chinese companies are ripping off, their next door neighbors. It doesn't matter. I don't care. All it is pushing innovation and value as well. Now, I've handled plenty of Kanwu knives, and I am very, very happy and very impressed, and I've come to count on what they are capable of. I'm, again, a very happy customer when it comes to Kanwu knives, but there aren't many that stick around the collection as long, because they cost a lot, and in my mind, they cost to continue keeping the collection, because that's money that I could put towards something else, like this, for example. So in doing so, I get to check out cool stuff, because as many times as I reach out to companies to check stuff out, my channel is very slow growing, and I just don't have the footprint or the audience to really request stuff on demand like a lot of other channels do. So if you guys start seeing this model pop up here and there to all the big channels, chances are it's being loaned out to them, or they got it for free, which great, they earned that opportunity, absolutely. But this would be a completely unbiased review, because I spent money that I didn't have. So this thing is under the finest of microscopes and the most amount of scrutiny possible, because I paid for it full price with money I didn't have. Shouldn't have bought this knife. And I need to convince myself that this is something so special, it needs to stay in the collection. And what I'm feeling right now is it's going to be pretty difficult to say anything negative about this thing. But yeah, let's take a look at this blade again. Just look at how they execute that plunge grind there. You can just sharpen this thing to hell, man. I mean, just look at that. That is wonderful. Very, very nice transition. And this is the user edition, essentially. I'm a user. I don't have any Safe Queens in my collection. So everything sees cardboard, plastic, some stuff in the kitchen, as well as, some stuff in the yard. I don't want this video to be too long, so if you're interested, I will do a separate disassembly as well as a sharpening video. And there's something I see in there. So in there, it's written, and it says Premiere Edition. Like Premiere as in like the first run, potentially. Because I snagged this the second I saw it come up. And I recently was on the Olatan's main page on Amazon looking at stuff. So when I saw this pop up, it was within a couple days that it was there. I really had to, go back and forth with the purchasing decision. Yeah, SW for, Stonewash, 29 out of 33. So there was a batch of 33. Not that there was only 33 in the wild. No, they're going to be making more, most likely. I can't see why they wouldn't. But yeah, so this is actually a numbered one. This is 29. Doesn't really hold any weight to me, and definitely not on this channel. But I think that's interesting. Some people like that kind of stuff. Let's go ahead and take the weight. This thing feels appropriately sized. There is large pockets for weight relieving. And it looks like it's just cartridge style for the crossbar lock housing, but it's mainly all tie, which is really cool. 5.6, so it makes sense. It makes sense. All right, let's do some size comparisons real quick. I really wish I had my reverse tux padre with me here, because it would probably be around the same exact size. The compadre here will, you know, help give a decent comparison to it. So there's that. If you have a monocola, whether it's the Assault Team 1, 2, or 3, doesn't matter, they're all the same size. Because it's out, this is, you know, good to show that off. Let's do a couple other size comparisons. This guy right here. Oop. I think I recently cleaned this thing up. Sebenza 31. It is damn near the same tip to tail. That's very impressive. And I think that's why I like the size of this so much. I've definitely been gravitating towards the larger knives. Senka Glide Strike, I actually put bearings back in here. And I used the fluorinated grease that comes with the Chris Reeve just because the other stuff that I've been using, the KPL, even with the heavy, this thing just drops way too freaking fast. Like, this is truly a dangerous blade when it comes to action wise. That's why I preferred the washers, but I kind of got I wanted to try the bearings back in here again. But the Glide Strike, if you guys have this knife, you know that it is a very lengthy blade over here, but when it comes to the amount of cutting edge, you don't get that much more of a difference. But again, it's that same design where you have full continuous belly. The belly on this is just a little bit more exaggerated, while this is just a little bit flatter. And you still have similar ergonomics with the forward finger choil, sharpening choil area, and very simple open handle design. This is obviously very, very minimal, and this has a little bit more, I guess, more of a curvaceous silhouette to say. Here we have the Manix 2 lightweight. I'm actually hunting for a yellow salt variation of this for my mom, because out of all the knives that I have in my collection, she likes this one the most. You know, cool. So I'm hunting one of those for her. Mother's Day is right around the corner, so why not, I guess. And here we have the beloved Predator by CMB Made Knives. So I'd say that from what I can see when it comes to companies starting off on Amazon and then branching off and doing their own thing, Olatons is very, very similar in how, I don't want to say design language, but just how things are brought to the market, very similar to CMB Made Knives. CMB Made Knives started, I believe, as not like an undercover OEM, but they did projects for people and then started doing their own designs. I believe that's how it was. They came out with a couple budget bangers, the Predator being one of, in my opinion, their absolute best designs here. Just the amount of robustness that you get in this. And the thing that I love about this so much is that it has about the same size robustness Omega Springs, and it also includes 3 different tension settings, while this does not, unfortunately. And you will get to see all that kind of stuff in the unboxing. But I think that is good. We'll call that good for size comparisons. There's not a whole lot else in the collection that is really worth showing off. I guess the Theory. I know the Theory kind of came back a little bit, started circulating, or the talks about the Theory, because Arcforum went out of business and sold these things for dirt freaking cheap, like half the price of what they were. They had no right to charge what they were charging in the beginning, but I think if you got one of these around $200, it's very well worth it. But yeah, pretty close. This guy actually has a little bit more length on it. Now the amount of cutting edge is damn near the same. I also put in a sharpening choil, so that does cut a little bit of the usable blade. I guess the usable blade edge right there. But yeah, this thing's really nice. It's really, really nice. I'm gonna go and take it apart in a second to make a separate video, because I probably at this point I've lost a lot of viewer retention. It's already a 20-minute video. Real quick, let's do a factory edge test. I have a piece of little catalog paper here. Very, very flimsy stuff. Ooh, that's nice. All right. I could use a little bit of refining, absolutely. But it's not too far off. I think this paper is just like stupidly thin. All right, so it definitely works. It's all right. I do have, I suppose, unreasonable standards for sharpness, but I want to see real quick because I felt a couple little nicks here and there. I mean, the blade, the edge itself, visually speaking, it is absolutely consistent from tip to heel on both sides. I think that's wonderful. If you can hear somebody screaming in the background, I promise they're all right. I live in a neighborhood with like a butt ton of kids, which I don't mind. I'm not complaining, but so if you guys hear somebody screaming bloody murder in the back, promise they're probably just getting their ass beat by their parents or something because they did bad in school. I'm not seeing any weird marks on the actual strop itself to suggest that there is a significant roll or chip. So maybe it's just at a lower, or I guess a higher edge angle, and it's not going through too easily, potentially. You get another piece. Okay, so this is slightly firmer stuff, so it should be, I suppose, technically easier to cut. Oh yeah, good. I mean, as far as factory edges go, this is up there with the best of them. We're talking, Concept, Kaiser, Wii, Civivi, Senkai. Who else? There's like a butt ton of other brands I can't think about right now. So this is right up there with the rest of them. So for being a relatively newer-ish brand or micro brand on Amazon, this is pretty good. This is pretty freaking good. So I'm very excited to see what the inside of this looks like. If you care to see as well, stay tuned for that kind of stuff. But if not, it'll take me a couple weeks to spend some time with this in the pocket. It will see sharpening, and I'll do my best not to do any modifications to it by the time a review comes around, but I have real high hopes for this. I think this is going to be a good one. Right off the bat, there are a lot of things that I really do enjoy, and let me throw it in the pocket real quick. Ooh, that is going to shred up my pants, but it might just be a quick little tweak on that clip just to bend it out a little bit. It's writing directly on that texturing and this only being for right-handed people only, essentially, it would have been wise to put a small little flat spot underneath just because there is no way to move it. So why would it matter? That's definitely a very, very small detail that a lot of companies and a lot of designers absolutely miss, but it's okay. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. Like, perfect example, this little dude right here. This is the Loki designed by Stephen Donick, a wonderful individual, and he designed this with the clip writing on the frag pattern here, and this looks like a little freaking pine cone to hold and use, but it is one of my favorite knives to use. And even though it is writing directly on the texturing, the way the clip is actually designed, it is beautifully designed and has enough, I suppose, like spring tension relieving in it so that it doesn't actually pinch that hard, but it has enough retention. So it's a clip that's designed exceptionally well, and it fits the build and kind of, I guess, goes over that whole, too much texture and flat spot and everything, that kind of design thing. But this is a pretty robust looking clip. It's on the shorter side and it widens out here kind of like a fishtail. And it has a pretty big contact point for, pinch point as well. So retention in the pocket is absolute, but the spring tension, it is definitely a lot more robust. So a quick little tweak on that and it should be just fine, but we'll see. So stay tuned for future stuff showing this thing off. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your guys' support and patience, of course. If you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing because I have plenty more videos and content coming your guys' way. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.